Hi, my name is Kelly McBride. If you need to contact me, you can email me at k.mcbride@sscok.edu. I'd be happy to answer any questions or help you troubleshoot if you can't figure out how to use the Brightspace feature I'm going to talk about today. So today is about intelligent agents. This is a tool in Brightspace that can help you reach out to your students in a very methodical way to remind them when they're not meeting course objectives. This can be everything from you've not logged in for a while to you didn't turn in this essay, or sometimes just reminders, hey, essay is due or test is due or whatever, right? So you see here in front of you one of my courses, and so intelligent agents are going to be under course admin. So we're going to go right down here to intelligent agents. Now you may have, your default may say category instead. And I'm sure they're probably, let's see where, communicate, they'll be under communication if you have it sorted by category rather than name. All right, so one of the first things to show you is to go up to settings. And the default is that when you send out these intelligent agents, which are really just emails, it's going to show that the emails come from system, no reply, and then the reply to address is this help desk, right? I like to actually change this and set it up that it shows that it's coming from me and that the reply to address is my SSC. I just think that makes sense. You know, if they get something from the help desk at Seminole State, that could be confusing to them. But if it comes from me, they know exactly what course it is. I mean, let's say your intelligent agent says quiz 1 is due today. Well, they may have another class that has quiz 1, right? So this makes it very clear who it's coming from. So I just save that so that all of these will come from me with my address, all right? So here, there's probably nothing. You can export your agent history if you need to, but that's probably nothing that you want to mess with. So we're going to hit new. So let's look at just what we've got here in some of these categories, and then I will walk you through a couple of different types of intelligent agents that I think are very common for most of us that I find have been very helpful. So you're going to have a place to name this. I like, you know, naming it based on the assignment unit, right? And then the actual specific assignment. And then the third part is what do I need them to do, right? It's due, it's not completed, something like that. So because sometimes I'll have the same assignment, or I might have the same name like outline, but it's the outline for unit 2 as opposed to unit 1, right? And then sometimes I want to send them a reminder that it's due, and sometimes I want to send them a notice that they didn't turn it in. So again, I like having those 3 components because it helps me pick the right one, right? You can add more description by clicking that if you want to. The default is that the agent is enabled. That means that it's active. Here, rolling class list, you're not going to want to change that because we're sending this to the users in the class list. So you can just do that. If you click this, you can just say students, but that means that you also won't get a reminder. So I would just say leave it as all those that are visible in the class. So now you have 2 options here in terms of activity, right? These themselves can be just what you send out. Login activity is about when they have logged into Brightspace in general. Course activity is when they have access to the course. And I think for most of us, the course activity is what we're more interested in than whether they have logged into any class in Brightspace, right? So if you're like doing no-shows, right, and you want to quickly identify who hasn't logged in after day 1 or day 2 or whatever, this might be what you want to do. If you want to have a regular reminder for students that have not logged in, let's say 4 days or 5 days, this is where you can set that up. The next section that you're going to look at is release conditions. So these crop up in all sorts of places. We can set release conditions in the assessment area, in the assignment area. What they are is, you know, to release this intelligent agent, I'm going to add a condition to it. This might be tying it to a specific assignment or an activity. So if all I'm doing is looking at have they logged into the class, I'm not going to probably submit release conditions. But when I want to actually email them reminders for something being due, then I will add release conditions. So again, you're going to set the condition type, right? So we have things that are about assignments, checklists, class lists, competencies. Some of these we really don't do here at the college. We're not really focused on that. So a lot of them you'll just ignore. Content, discussions, grades, assessments, and surveys. Right now, the survey is about any survey that you've created in Brightspace. It's not like our class climate survey. Then we have actions. So how often do you want this repeated? And you can click here and it will tell you, right, that if you use the default, that means that, let's say I'm notifying everybody that's completed an assignment, right? So for us, we have a pre-test and a post-test. They can't complete the post-test until they've taken the pre-test, right? And then they can't move forward and turn in the first major assignment until they have completed the post-test, because that's our plagiarism quiz, right? So let's say that just to give my students peace of mind, I want to send out an email that tells them that they have successfully completed the post-test, right? If I choose the first option here, right, then when I run this intelligent agent multiple times, because you got a class of 28, they're not all going to complete it. Some are going to complete it early, right? So you're just going to have it run, let's say, every day until it's due, right? So that they know, yes, I got it done, I can move on and worry on the next thing, right? If I have that one, then as soon as a student fulfills that criteria, they're not going to get any more emails when that intelligent agent is run again. If I have the second one, that means that everyone who has fulfilled the release condition, have submitted the post-test in this example, is going to get an email every time I run it. That means that, let's say I have someone who got it done on Monday and they got their, yes, you finished it, good for you on Monday. That means that they'll also get it on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday when I rerun this, right? So it's kind of nagging. So the first one is the better option in that scenario. Now, if you're emailing to say that they have not completed an important criteria, then I think you want to use the second one. You want to remind them every single time that you run this that, hey, that you've still not completed this, right? So again, the default is you just do it the one time and that they don't get any other reminders, even if they've still not met that condition. The second one says that every time you run this, they're going to get an email when they have met the condition, right? So again, I change this depending on what I'm informing them about. You can choose to send an email. To be honest, I'm not sure what happens if you don't choose to send an email. I don't know if they just get a notice. I think they probably just get a notice that they've not done it, but the email allows you to customize. And so I always send an email. And you're going to have a place to CC and BCC people. I don't use the CC and BCC because I just don't know that it's applicable, right? You can click this about special email addresses, and it tells you that if you want to use, you can use this replace strings. And so you can say initiating user, and that's going to immediately fill this out to everyone who meets the criteria. And if you put it in BCC, then they don't see who else is getting the email, right? So that's why I don't know why you would CC anyone else. Like, for example, we have the co-rec, and, I find it helpful to keep my partner who teaches the special topics class that's tied to mine up to date. Like if people in that class are not turning things in. Now, she's part of the class. I add her to the class, but I think it's nice to know when I've been sending out emails to students that, hey, you've not completed this. If I add her here, she's not going to see that because it's a blind carbon copy, right? So you'd want, so again, I'm not sure why you would send that to anyone else. And since you're a part of the class And I've not said, you know, you as the instructor, you're going to get a copy of this anyway, right? So then we have, you know, whatever the subject is, and I like to, you know, usually if it's a reminder, I like to say reminder, and then I, you know, SA2 due soon, something like that, right? Now you have also this replace strings you can use in the subject and message. So you can see all sorts of things. I like this one right here. This is going to take the first name of the student, and if I put it right there followed by a comma, then when they get the email, their first name is going to be at the top. So it kind of looks like I wrote this specifically to them. And again, I think it customizes it, personalizes it, and I think that's always a nice thing to do. And then you can type your message that tells them, you know, what it exactly is that you're reminding them of, right? You can attach a document. You can record a short, I think there's a 5-minute limit on the recording there, but you can type a little audio or video message. You can say HTML or plain text if that makes a difference. And then you can actually set it up on a schedule to run. So I can say, you know, how often do I want to run this, right? Usually we'll want it probably daily. And then I can say, how often do I want it to repeat? So I always say every day, right? And then I can say, when should this start? So when is the first day they should receive this reminder, and when will it end? And usually you end that on the assignment deadline, right? And so you can choose those, and then you just save and close, and your intelligent agent is set up. So let's actually do one, right? So let me do that post test. So I, you know, make an intelligent agent name that's going to make sense to me, that's on the list, so I know what I'm doing when I'm setting it to go, right? I'm not going to choose any of these because this isn't about when they logged in, but I am going to create a release condition. So I'm going to go down to assessments because they take this particular one in assessments, and it's going to say no completed assessment attempt. And then it's going to allow me to choose which assessment. And then I can hit create, and it's going to attach that release condition. Now you can attach more than one release condition. So for this, for the post test, there are two issues that I want to remind students of, right? For the post test, they have to make 100% on it. So it's not so much that they completed it, they also have to take it over and over again until they've made 100%. So I'm going to add a second release condition, and this is going to be about the score on assessment. And I'm going to pick post test, and then I'm going to say less than 100. And I'm going to create that. All right. Now I have to change this one. It says all conditions must be met, right? Well, that's not going to get me the right response, right? I want to say any condition must be met. With any condition, this is going to send this reminder out not only to those who have not attempted it at all, but it's also going to be the ones who may have made an attempt, but they've not made that 100%. I hope that makes sense, right? So what am I going to do? I'm going to take action every time the agent is evaluated, not just the once, but every time, every day that they have not done this, I'm going to send them out a reminder. And then I'm going to, again, keep initiating user there in my BCC column. I'm going to say reminder, post-test assessment due. And then I've got their first name, and I'm going to say, hi, I've noticed that you have either not taken the post-test at all, or you have taken it but not earned a 100%. Remember, this is a required assignment, and not completing it with a 100% by the deadline will reduce your final course grade by 10%. And again, this is explained to them on the syllabus. It's explained to them in the assignment. So I'm just reminding this. And then I always like to add, if you have an emergency that has kept you all right. Oh, let me actually do the right letter. EC. Okay, yeah. All right. Now, one of the things is I can also highlight this. I can click my link there, and actually I can go back and I can give them a link to the post test, right? So that they can click it right there and get to it. I can also, again, attach something or make a video. I'm not going to do that. And then I can say schedule. Right, and so I'm going to say daily. It's going to repeat every day, and it's going to start. Let's see. So I just started this class. So I would have said June 15th because that was the first day. And since this is an accelerated class, they had until the 17th to complete it. So that's my window there, so that it's not going to start sending these out until the 15th. And then it's not going to send them out after the 17th, right? And then I can save and close. Okay, I left something out. Oh, you have to, I'm sorry, you have to put somebody here. So I can say, I'm just going to send it to myself. All right, and so then if I want to see what it's going to do, I can do a practice run. Now I have it set now, since that date has already passed. So let me go back and fix that. I'm going to edit that. Edit is very important because sometimes you make mistakes. So let me just update the schedule because this isn't a real class. This is just a developmental show. So I'm going to say now. Okay. So now you're going to see the next run date is today, right? Because it's not run. So I can then click practice run and just click yes on both of these. And it's going to give a practice so I can see, is it working correctly? Now, this is why this is important, because the first time I did this, when I set up this particular one, I accidentally made my release condition not people who had not completed, but just people who had completed. And so I sent them out that email that you have not completed this assignment, and they were the actual ones who had completed it. Just totally wasn't thinking, right? So the practice run allows you to, okay, so here's 2 users identified. I can click that, and I can see that it's me, and then of course our practice student that's enrolled in. If you know about Joe Test, he's for the designers, and we have a practice student that we can see how it's working, right? So I should receive an email right there that tells me that the agent has completed, right? And so if that looks correct, like if those look like students, yes, those are the students who have not completed, then I can hit run now, hit done, and then it will actually run it, not just the practice run, but it'll actually run it for real, right? Now, if it's enabled, the fact that I have it on the schedule means that it'll run whether I do it or not, right? If I hit run now, that allows me to run it immediately. I'm not sure if it will run it again if it's on schedule, if you do a manual run, or if it'll count that manual run as the daily one, right? Not quite sure about that. Now this will update, but for this class, it's going to be the same one. So notice that that little gear is gone. That means that it's run, and I should now have, and notice that yep, there, it replaced my name by using that initializing, first name. It replaced my name. I can click that and it'll take me right to the post-test assignment, right? So I could actually take that if I was a student. All right, so that's one type of for assessments, right? You can also let's say you're worried about no-shows and you want to be able to remind students that, so let's say, again, this is just like the first 2 weeks. This one is really helpful if you're doing the accelerated courses where no-shows, like in the summer, were the second day of class, right? Or the second day of the semester. And so you want them to go out every day, right? At least once. So I'm going to say the user has not accessed the course for at least 1 day, right? And I don't need to attach any conditions. I'm going to take this action every time it's run. Remember, I've got to put my address up here. I'm going to say I'm going to say no-show warning or something like that. And then I'm going to come back and grab this one. And so I could say, dear, like this. I can add a salutation, right? I can say, hi, I've noticed you have not logged into our course and begun class activities yet. Please be aware that the college requires instructors file no-show reports on students who have not completed one assignment by 6th hour of class meetings. I like to say 6th hour, so then I don't have to keep changing this for, like, if it's an 8-week semester versus a 16-week semester versus a 4-week semester, right? It's just a 6th hour, right? Please email me if you are having access issues. Being as a no-show will get you dropped from the class. Something like that. It's not my best prose, but you can see the thing, right? And again, the no-show information is available on the Start Here message. It's in the course syllabus. So it's not like, they haven't been told this, but if they've not even logged in, they're not even aware of it, right? And so then I'm going to use the schedule, and I'm going to say daily, every day, starting now. And then again, if this is a regular, semester, then I'm just going to do it for, actually that'd be 2 weeks. So that would be, okay, let's make that a little bit bigger so it's easy to see. So if this is the 24th, I'm going to do that on July 8th, right? Because that would be the day of no-shows if the class started today, right? And then I'm going to save and close. And so now that one is going to automatically run every day until the no-show date is due. Now I might actually want to say not the 8th, because the 8th, if they're due on the 8th, then you actually want to stop it on the 7th, right? So again, you can just come here and explore the different release conditions. You can do things like they've not submitted to a folder, like they're supposed to upload an assignment and they haven't uploaded yet, then you can, reward them, right? Hey, this is due. You can also do grades. So let's say that their released final grade is failing, right? You can set out a reminder that anytime some student's grade falls below a certain, thing, right? So let's say is less than 60%. Now you have to set up in the grade book that you've released their final grades, right? That's conditional here. But this would be where one that I would probably not want to do this every day. I would probably want to run this maybe weekly. And then I could even say every 2 weeks, right? I don't even have to do it every week. And then I could say it repeats on Monday, right? And then again, I can set my start and due dates. And so again, you don't have to be going in and saying, oh, I need to let these students know that they're not passing the class, right? You can come up here, you can set an email that says, hi, your grade has fallen below a 60, which is failing, and you will not be able to, move on from this course. You'll have to repeat it. Please contact me about your grade if you have questions, right? This again just helps you keep those things automated so that you don't have to constantly ring like, oh my gosh, I didn't remind them about that, right? So again, or if they've got an A, like in my class, if a student has an A, then they don't have to turn in revision. So maybe I want to set this at the week before finals, because that's when I usually have graded their last essay that they could revise. I would only want to run this, before that week and say, hey, congratulations, you have an A in the class after completing all major assignments except for the final exam, which is only 10 points, so that's not going to mess their grade up. Like I say, that means that, you don't have to revise because you can't improve your grade, right? Good work, right? So you can say that. Again, lots of possibilities to customize this to your class. So again, if you have any more questions or if something's not running right or you can't figure it out, you can email me. You can email people in the Distance Ed Committee. You could probably even contact Teresa Norman, our Brightspace guru, to get help. But I find that if I just take this time to set all of these up, it really helps me stay on top of things that it's easy to forget to, oh yeah, I meant to look at that. This is my current course. And you can see that I have quite a lot of intelligent agents. That's because this is an accelerated 5-week course. And so there's something due almost every day, and it's easy for them to lose slip. So I have a lot more of these set up than I might usually in a 16-week course. But again, it seems to make a difference. So good luck with that. And I hope this video was helpful.